Hello, this is Mrs. Michelle Kirkman, and I am your English teacher for AP English Language and Composition. You are watching this video because you've been accepted into the class, and this video will provide you with the keys to success to help you be prepared to start this class and make the decision on if this is the right class for you or not. First of all, I'm going to go over 6 things here. 5 of them have separate slides, but the last one I want to talk about first with this idea of taking the AP test. Agreeing to take this AP English class requires that in May of 2017 you will be taking the AP test as well. So keeping that in mind is important. If you are not willing to take the AP test in May, then keep that in mind that this should not possibly be the right class for you. Now, within the keys to success, I'm going to cover 5 main areas. I'm going to talk about technology expectations, textbooks, supplies, summer reading, and summer school. All 5 of these wrapped up together will help you decide if not only if this is the class for you, but it will help you to decide and see and make sure that you are prepared for classes when we start. I'm going to start with this idea of the technology expectations. When I handed out the packets in May to help you prepare and study for the placement exam, I very specifically talked about this idea of technology and how integral and important technology is within this classroom. I have always been a huge technology fan within my classes, and that is important. You being teenagers in the society today use a lot of technology, so I try and infuse that into my classroom to get you more interested into it and working well with it. So we look at education as an integrated process, not as separate. So the first thing that we're going to do is we look at this idea of a flipped classroom. That's what we're doing now. You are watching a video at home. Then in class, we will discuss, we will go deeper, we will have critical thinking and analysis. This will happen 3 to 5 times a week where you will be required to watch a video at home. I take time out of my day to record a 10 to 15 minute video that is my lecture. So instead of me lecturing in class for 50 minutes, and you taking notes, going home and studying those notes, instead I do a condensed lecture in 10 to 15 minutes on a video. You sit at home, you watch it, you take notes, and you do exercises throughout the video and bring those in the next day. In class the next day, I do not re-lecture on the video. But instead, it allows us to go deeper, to connect more with what we're doing, and to spend more time in the classroom looking at the deeper components of the ideas that we're looking at the moment. Sometimes we have 3 to 5 videos, sometimes we have 1 video. It depends on what's going on within the classroom itself. If you have problems watching videos and doing things from them on a very regular basis, then keeping that in mind, this might not be the class for you. I play a game with my students called Classcraft, which you will learn more about in the very first week of class, and it offers some benefits, but those benefits are going to be vastly different than they were last year. So keeping that in mind is important. So if you've heard things about some of the things I offer, don't necessarily get used to those. Forums is this idea that you will be writing weekly online, not necessarily in a blog system. I've switched over to a forum system instead, where through Classcraft you will be writing online and turning in 2 writing assignments or 2 essays per week. And you will be commenting on each other's. This idea of daily online homework fits in with this idea of a flipped classroom. When you are watching the videos at home, you are taking notes. You can pause the videos, you can take notes, you can restart them, all of that stuff. You were also required to do some form of daily online homework with it. Sometimes it's a worksheet, sometimes it's a quiz, sometimes it's an essay, but it is built into this idea of being online and being prepared. We will continue to use Turnitin.com. I know you've already used it in 9th and 10th grade, and we are continuing on with it all the way through the rest of high school. So you will be using it as an integral part of my class and an integral part of research writing. Yes, you will have 2 English classes this year. Research writing is only 1 semester, but you still have that idea of English writing. to go along with the English classes you have as well. Now here there will be an online gradebook system. It used to say Jupyter here, but I've replaced that because we will no longer be using Jupyter. It is another system as a school that we are transferring to, and at the beginning of the school year you will find more information about it, and I will help you through the transition and learning how to use the new system. Edmodo is like an online educational Facebook. You will find that there will be other videos sent to you between now and the time that we actually start the AP class on August 1st. So Edmodo is part of that, and that's my way of being able to connect with you and connect with the class. And have discussions and provide things for you. It's kind of like our class website, where I will provide a bunch of different things for you, including worksheets and quizzes and polls and handouts, and all of that stuff will be there, and I will show you how to make an account for that if you don't already have one. You might already have one if you've taken like a digital media class or something like that. And then something that I'm waiting on confirmation for is this idea that we will possibly be doing something where I will be testing with this class this idea of a Google Classroom. We will be using Google on a regular basis, Google Docs, Google Slides. You will need to have a Google email account because you will be using Google Drive, and we will be working on things like that. Google Classroom is just a way to combine it all together where everything is in one place. But for now, we're not sure about this, but still, yes, you need to have a Google address. Okay. Textbooks. For this class, the textbooks are listed here. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them on Follett. You are required to have them in class by Thursday, August 4th. This textbook is my normal everyday textbook that we use in class on a very regular basis. I'd have to say about 70 to 80% of the textbook throughout the year, on top of which there will be 3 novels, which we will discuss throughout the first week of class on top of the summer reading. So there'll be 3 novels throughout the school year itself. Wordly Wise, make sure that you are getting specifically the 3rd edition. And the ISBNs are both here. Again, you can order them on Follett, on Amazon. Another good place to get the Wordly Wise book rather cheap is christianbooks.com. And again, August 4th. The important thing about this is the fact that deciding if you're in this class or not before classes already start is important, because it will help you decide if you are buying the right textbooks, because this textbook is not the one offered for the regular English class or this year in the adding of an honors English class. They will be using a different textbook than the AP, so keeping that in mind, if you drop the class, you will have to be buying a second textbook. The Wordly Wise book, though, will be the same for both classes. Everyone in the 11th grade will use the same Wordly Wise book. The book needs to be blank. I will actually be checking books before we start using them to make sure you have one that is brand new and not one that has been answers and stuff in it from other previous students. Okay, supplies. I am picky about this. This is one of my sticklers, but I do this with the idea of helping you to become more organized, more cohesive and together, and it helps things to run more smoothly. But on the other side, it annoys my students most of the time that I have such specific restrictions. But again, getting more organized, becoming more professional, and helping you to get through these things is important. So the first thing we have is this idea of pens. I only allow my students to turn in assignments in black and blue ink. You can use colored pens for taking notes and stuff like that, but when you turn in a classwork, a homework, an essay, a test, a quiz, anything like that, it gets done in black and blue ink or blue ink. If you don't turn it in black and blue ink, then it gets graded down. And I don't think every single point in this class matters, so I don't think you want to take the risk of losing a point because you picked up the wrong pen. So I definitely suggest buying lots and lots of those at the beginning of the year. Pencils will be used for Scantrons and grammar. And you can use them for notes if you'd like. But again, any assignments turned in need to be in black and blue ink unless they are Scantron and grammar assignments. Highlighters, I like highlighters. I have you pull them out. I highlight things in the literature. I might tell you in your notes things to highlight. 2 to 3 colors is good. It helps you to stay organized and cohesive. And I will probably have you work on writing assignments where you will be using a revision system that requires more than one color of highlighter. Whiteout is optional. I prefer the pen type, but that is just because it is neater. It whites things out quickly and you can write right over it and go on. You cannot use whiteout on the AP test, so getting used to not using whiteout from the beginning is important. So just neatly crossing out things if it's not a lot is great. I am completely okay with that. I just prefer the pen type versus the liquid type because it is neater. Okay, binder, notebook, I don't care which one you use in the class. It is your choice, your system on what you are comfortable with. If you want to put the English notes in with the Armenian notes and the math notes and the science notes and have them in one big binder, I am okay with that as long as you keep things and stay organized. If I start to notice that things are not kept and things are flying everywhere in your backpack, I will sit down with you and talk about being organized about that. But if the most important thing is this idea of lots and lots and lots of paper. You take notes, you do essays, you do classwork, you do homework, and you use a lot of paper in my class. If you're going to use a notebook, I suggest you get 2, one for each semester. If you're going to do a binder, I suggest you get 200 or 300 pieces of paper because that's probably about what you're going to end up using. On top of the binder notebook, you see here a separate thing of a 1-inch binder with dividers. This will stay in class. This will be your portfolio. This will be where we keep practice multiple choice tests as preparation for the AP test, where we keep practice AP essays and stuff like that. So this you need to have separate from the binder notebook. This stays in the class. 3x5 note cards are required. I suggest 2 to 3 packs. We will be using these for Wordly Wise. We'll be using these also for literary devices, techniques, quotes, and stuff like that. The last 2 go with the previous slide with this idea of you need to have computer access for my class. You also need to have a Google email address as you will be using Google Drive, Google Docs, and stuff like that. Okay, summer reading. There are 2 books that were assigned back in June when the summer reading list was posted. We have Night by Elie Wiesel. This is a nonfiction book from a Holocaust survivor. Elie Wiesel was actually in the concentration camps in Auschwitz. Recently he did pass away in the last couple of weeks, but this is a very good, very short novel with that relation aspect. And then on the other side, something vastly different. We have 1,000 Splendid Suns. This is by the same author that wrote Kite Runner, but this has female protagonists. The idea here is that you are just reading the books. There are no projects to go with them. Because you have been accepted into the AP class, there is a 3rd novel to read called The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. This is a Vietnam War story that we will go rather in depth on. You need to have all 3 of these read by the very first day of summer classes, which start on Monday, August 1st. With your acceptance into the AP classes, you already got the schedule, so you know my class is an hour long and on what days we meet. The basic schedule for my class is that on Monday, we will have a reading quiz. You will come in, you will sit down, you'll pull out a pen, black or blue ink, and you will take a 30-point reading quiz. We will not discuss the novels until after the reading quiz. There will be 10 points dedicated to each novel. Then we will spend the rest of Monday and all of Tuesday discussing the 3 novels, and on Wednesday we will take a test. The test is worth 60 points, and then we fly right into the textbook. So these are your keys to success. Now the hard part is this, yes, I'm wishing you good luck, but the hard part is now you have to decide, do I take 3 APs, 2 APs, 1 AP? It's your decision, but it's important that you make that decision before we start classes so that you know what books to order, what books to read, and such. Thank you.